Good morning. Welcome to the Community for Conscious Living weekly live broadcast. The Community for Conscious Living is a community dedicated to personal transformation for universal harmony. Healing the planet by making inspired changes in ourselves and our daily lives to create a sustainable environment and a peaceful world. You know, I just want to say something before we get started. I was, for myself, one of a big part of how this community got started is that I was wanting like a church community, but without the church community. And I couldn't find, or without all of the all of the issues that can come up around church and religion, and that church community that can come up for so many of us. And I've been a part of a spiritual community for many years, for the last 20 years, and I love my community. And I've moved away, and we're very spread out. And I actually lived in a spiritual community up in the mountains and in Northern California, but anyway, the community is very dedicated and yet very spread out. And I was kind of wanting something a little bit different and couldn't find what I was looking for. So this for me is like a replacement for that, and it's what church would be if I were to have my own church. So I hope that it actually addresses some of the needs for people. I'm at my dad's still visiting my dad since his partner just passed last week. And I was just downstairs. He listens to a church on the television in the mornings. And, the guy was saying, it was a hellfire and brimstone, evil sinners and meant to suffer, and all of this. And I mean, ultimately, when we really get down to it, we're saying a lot of the same things, but with a different perspective and a different outlook and a different, I don't know, I guess a different reality, because we make mistakes, but we're meant to make mistakes. And that doesn't mean we're evil sinners in quite the same way. So, I was looking for a way to express that different perspective that still really got to the heart of things in just a very direct and serious way, with hopefully some lightness and fun in there too. But something that really extended to like really went straight into the truth of the spirit, and who we are, what we are, why we're here, what our connections are on the spiritual planes, and how that manifests through physical body and material world, and how we can really recognize and live that connection in a way that is beneficial to the planet, to create a sustainable environment, a healthy planet, and a peaceful world so we can really live it. And I wasn't finding that anywhere, so that's why I said, okay, just gonna start it myself. So I hope that if you could relate to any of that, that you can benefit from this program in the same way. If you if you feel like it, you can call it your Sunday morning church. So a big part of this community is coming together to create change, doing the inner work. So the change comes from within and inspires us to make a difference outside of ourselves, in our families, our communities, on the planet, in all of the world. So our focus for the month of October is on eating disorders. This is our, I don't know if you've seen the emails, but I've called it the CSO, Community Support Opportunity for the Month. I lived on before I moved to Florida 4.5 years ago, I lived on a CSA farm, Community Supported Agriculture Farm. And this one was an organic farm that had a social mission. They employed adults and training for adults with developmental disabilities. They also did a lot of education about sustainability and, health of the food, health of the planet. And excuse me, so now I consider I've gone from a CSA to a CSO, a community support opportunities that have the mission of helping people to heal their bodies, to live in a way that's more sustainable for the planet while raising awareness and benefiting social causes. So this month's cause is eating disorders. In the US alone, in the United States alone, over 20 million women and this number surprised me, over 10 million men suffer from clinically significant eating disorders. Now, that's not just the majority of the world, or of our society anyway, of our culture that tends to overeat and eat compulsively and eat for nervous reasons. This is clinically significant eating disorders. Anorexia nervosa has the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. It is 12 times higher than the death rate of all causes of death for females between the ages of 15 and 24. 12 times higher than the death rate of all causes for females between the ages of 15 and 24. Without treatment, up to 20% of people with serious eating disorders die. So, when you read these statistics and hear these statistics, I don't think we realize just how prevalent this issue is and how serious it is, but it's time we do. And I want to say that, in thinking of a community that supports causes, I started making a list of the various causes that I felt were important, and I'd love to hear from you also. So please go to the website and send me a message through the contact page there, joyfullylivingwellness.com/contact, I think it is, or just joyfullylivingwellness.com and click on the contact button. Let me know what causes you care about, and we'll perhaps add those to the list too. There's so many. But actually, I'd love for this to be a community effort. So I'd love to know what you're passionate about. So saying that, I had this on the list, and it wasn't the first on the list. But there were just things that kept popping up that caused this to jump to the first on the list. This is our first full month. I guess September was our first month, but this is our first month of actually having a CSO, Community Support Opportunity. So this topic came to be the focus this month because it just kept showing up. I've done a lot of programs on emotional eating and compulsive eating, and they've attracted a number of people with clinically diagnosed eating disorders. So it's been something that I've been passionate about for a long time anyway, but just recently, a friend posted on Facebook a story of a young family member who at 20 years old died of a heart attack. And she died of a heart attack after spending most of her life battling anorexia and bulimia. And she posted a picture of her on Facebook, and it really hit me, and together with all of the press, all of the stuff that's been in the press lately about Donald Trump and how, his, and I apologize, I don't really want to get into politics right now, but how he's been, saying things about women. And another thing that's really hit me is the number of people who say, oh, that's how guys talk. That's locker room talk. That's, this is the way the world is. I heard somebody on the news last night saying, I have thick skin. And just I typically live with no television. I can go for long periods of time without knowing what's going on in the world, for better or worse. But at my dad's house, the television's on 24/7, so it's really in my face. Um, but, you know, so seeing the reactions to these comments, hearing the comments, number one, and yeah, we all know that these things are out there. They bombard us 24/7 with music and television shows and all these reality shows and talk shows and all this stuff. It's constant bombardment and imprinting if you're not careful what you're listening to and what you're watching. But seeing the reactions from women and men, whether you're, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, whether you're saying that it's okay, it's acceptable, it's just what guys do, I've got thick skin, I can handle it, I can deal with it, or those who say, you know what, this is not what I want for my mother, for my sister, for my wife, for my daughter, for myself, and I'm not going to tolerate it, I'm not going to accept it. But just hearing all of this going back and forth and seeing and knowing how it hits us, it hits all of us. And I don't care how thick your skin is, it's really hard to not be imprinted with the voices and the pictures that we're supposed to look a certain way, we're supposed to act a certain way, we've got a certain level of acceptance and attractiveness if we can fit into certain molds. And it's so subtle and subconscious that in so many ways we try to transform, or to transform ourselves, and we put all kinds of subtle energetics into our body that we take on around this imprinting. And that's what I want to focus today's meditation on, is releasing some of that imprinting and that the energetics that we take on in our bodies that keep us from just being comfortable in our skin, showing up fully and completely, loving ourselves, accepting ourselves, being committed to ourselves to be the best people that we can be. So, and I do want to say, even if you don't have a clinically significant or clinically diagnosed eating disorder, overeating, compulsive eating, poor eating habits affect our body and the planet in very strong ways. You've probably heard the phrase, every dollar's a vote. Everything that we do supports something. It's certainly the overeating, compulsive eating, poor eating habits, purchasing of, our food purchases. If, depending on how conscious we are, it can certainly put financial support into some evil pockets. Now, I said I wasn't going to say hellfire and brimstone and talk about the evil, right? But honestly, there's, I don't believe that all of these grocery and food manufacturing and chemical companies, seed companies, you know what they are. I don't believe that they necessarily started out to be evil, but I do believe that there is a significant influence of evil in their stream of consciousness, in their operations. It's having some pretty dire effects on the planet and on the people. Maybe they started out to save the planet from hunger, but it's really taken a turn for the worse for the planet and the people, and we've got to do something about it. One thing that we can do is by minding our own habits, our buying habits, but also our eating habits. So overeating, compulsive eating, poor eating habits affect our bodies and the planet in very strong ways. Also, our issues with food, our eating habits, and our relationship to our bodies give us signals. Our bodies are talking to us all the time, and our paths, our path on this earthly journey, in this, our spiritual beings in these physical bodies on this earth journey, are peppered with guideposts that tell us all the time how we're doing in relationship to ourselves and our spirit. So how comfortable we are in our own skin. how much we accept and love ourselves, whether we feel safe on this planet. These all tests tell us how we're doing, how trusting we are in spirit, in our own selves as spiritual beings connected to an all that is, how trusting we are in the divine, in God. Our relationship to food and our bodies can be one of the most significant doorways. And it has been a significant doorway to some of the deepest healing I've witnessed in clients, in my program participants, and in myself. So eating disorders, as a result of all of this, popped to the top of the list for this month. We have become complacent with the cultural norms about what we're supposed to eat, what we're supposed to look like, how we're supposed to act. And it's destroying, or destroyed, and hopefully we're restoring. I think we're on the upswing of restoring our value systems. But I feel like this has destroyed our value systems, our self-worth, and so much more. That it's not just a, it's up to each one of us to change it within ourselves. It's where it's got to begin. But it's truly a cultural, societal, systemic problem. I've done programs in schools with kids, and I got to do this program with kids for I'm blanking on the name. It was about food advertising, food addiction and advertising traps, and with 6th grade and 7th graders, food addiction and advertising traps. And it's, so much, billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars are spent on advertising crappy food to children. Children is like one of the #1 markets for advertising crappy food, because if you get the food habits at young ages, then you've got them for life, right? We know as adults how hard it is to break some of the habits that we've developed with food, and those habits start very, very early. The most, the impressionable years when we're being imprinted are the first 7 years of our lives. And addiction, signs of addiction begin to show up in food. Yes, certain foods are very addicting, more so than cocaine and heroin and these drugs that we think of as addictive drugs. Signs of addiction, food addiction, start to show up in children as young as 4 years old. And girls especially, but boys too, are developing and displaying signs of the body image issues, which is the #1 issues that lead to the clinically significant eating disorders. They're showing these signs as young as 6 and 7 years old. So actually, I'm grateful that this is getting so much attention right now, because it's something that we really need to blast in our faces, to open our eyes wide, because we've got some really serious work to do to change this. We really need to work hard to change it. The imprinting that tells us what we're supposed to look like, what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to be like, it's everywhere. And in the food advertising commercials, these kids, when I did this program with these kids, they're smart. You just go in and start asking. If you have, if you're around kids, just start asking them questions. Ask them questions about, what is it that you like about certain foods? It's interesting. When I went in to talk to these kids, I was saying, okay, so what are your favorite foods? And when I was talking to them and actually calling them foods, they were talking about foods, and I was like, oh, have you ever tasted squash? Have you ever tasted broccoli? It was funny, some of the kids that actually hadn't tasted broccoli and squash. that were real vegetables and not from cans. Not everyone had at 6th and 7th grade, which was surprising. But the, you know, you start talking to them about foods, and they'll tell you what they like and don't like about foods. And it was interesting, because then I said, what about junk food? And their eyes lit up and got really big, and then they got really excited, and then they started talking about, oh, and they started naming all their favorite junk foods. And I was like, well, why do you like that food? What is it about that food? And, you know, what is it that, you know, that attracts you? Have you seen advertising for those foods, commercials? You know, like, what's going on? What's going on? And they're not stupid. They'll tell you when they start talking about the advertising, they'll tell you what it is. Oh, it's this character or that character. And oh yeah, this guy's really cool on that commercial. And oh yeah, well, you know, and you think about it, you know, that beverage, Coca-Cola, the real thing, it's called the real thing. I don't know what's real in it, but I'm sure maybe something. But you think about the advertising for that. What flashes in my head is people in skimpy clothing running on, you know, in bikinis, and the men in their bathing suits running on down the beach, carrying the coolers of iced down Coca-Cola, and they're all toothpick thin, and they're having a great time, and it's the life of the party, and it's the, you know, the popular, the fun, the free, the all of this stuff that is advertised along with these foods that, to the contrary, will make you break out, make you fat, make you have energy spikes and crashes, and, you know, none of the that stuff that's depicted in that commercial really happens when you consume those foods regularly. So, you know, and the kids get it. They know it. They will even tell you about that if you ask them the right questions. They'll tell you that themselves. They know it. So it's good to have those conversations with the younger ones, and with yourself also, if it's appropriate for you, and really just bring it to the forefront of consciousness. There are so many messages that are imprinting us on the subtle subconscious layers that get stuck in the psyche. And, you know, there are a lot of us that have been affected by these over the years, develop habits that are really hard to break. There are a lot of children that are being bombarded with this information that are being affected now. We need to talk to them. I think it'll do good for us as adults as well as for the kids to talk to them. As I said, my friend posted that picture of the 20-year-old girl who died of a heart attack after a life of a horrific struggle with anorexia. And I'll repeat the statistics on that. Anorexia nervosa has the highest mortality rate of any mental illness, 12 times higher than the death rate for all causes of death for females between the ages of 15 and 24. Without treatment, up to 20% of people with serious eating disorders die. So it's time we realize how serious this issue is. And, you know, whether it's clinically significant for you or not, we've all been affected. We all carry the imprinting from this world, the culture, the society that we live in, and all of the media that bombards us 24/7 from so many different directions. You know, it's through the airwaves, through the television, through the radio, through the music we listen to, the broadcasting, even the subtle stuff. You know, there's some stuff that's in your face and you know what it is. There's a lot of stuff that's just subtle messages and imprinting that come from so many different places that, you know, we just need to make sure we're very much awake and doing our work to release this imprinting from our psyches in our energy fields, in the places where we store them in our bodies and have stored them for our lifetimes, so that we can begin to live in a different way and to allow ourselves to be beacons of truth. When we carry the truth strongly in our beings, we become beacons of truth that will emit and transmit different messages to the people around us and into the world. It's important to do this work. So we're going to go into the meditation. Before we go into the meditation, I want to tell you about an organization that I think deserves some support. You can look at their website later today, not right now, but later today. It's National Eating Disorder Association, and their website is nationaleatingdisorders.com. .org, nationaleatingdisorders.org. And you know what? I forgot to put their link on the webpage, but I will as soon as this is over. I'll put the link on there so that you can get to it. They've done a number of things. Their website's pretty incredible. They've got some anonymous screening, online screening that you can do to find out if you're at risk or if someone you care about is at risk. They've got all kinds of toolkits on, where you can get tools for tools and education and different tips for working with people. If you are a teacher, if you're a coach, if you're a parent, if you're someone who's having challenges for yourself, or just someone who cares in the community. So, and they've got ways to get involved if you need support. They've got support groups, the local support groups listed on their website from around the country, and might be around the world too. I'm not sure. But they've just got it where you can put in where you live, and they'll find the closest support group for you. They've got all kinds of opportunities there that just look like they've done some fabulous work. They're also a 4-star rating in I think it's called Charity Watch. So it's a very small portion of their proceeds goes toward the organization, and most of it actually does go to help the people. So they have a very high rating on a number of levels there. So National Eating Disorder Association, nationaleatingdisorders.org. If you feel called to support, to get involved in some way, or if you need some further resources to help someone in your community. You're also welcome to contact me, because I've done a lot of work with people who struggle with eating disorders and with challenges with food and body image. And I am honored and blessed to help in this way, and very passionate about it. Okay, so let's go on into our meditation. Let's come together in our virtual circle today. So let's just imagine us all coming together in a circle, in our own support circle, sitting side by side, bringing the heart center to face toward, there's like an eye of the heart, bringing the eye of the heart, the funnel, the energetic funnel that extends from the heart, bringing this to face forward toward the center of the circle. And calling in the name of the one, the most compassionate, loving, merciful, calling on the essence of divine light, and calling on the essence of unconditional love, calling on the essence of the eternal, existent compassion, the ocean of compassion, the ocean we swim in as energetic beings, spiritual beings, in this ocean, this divine ocean that we exist in. We exist in an ocean of love and compassion. We're just calling on these vibrations to make themselves palpable for us in this moment. And just imagine or feel or perceive, in whatever way you do, the center of our circle. This essence of divine light streaming into the center of our circle, into that place where our hearts intersect as our hearts face forward in this circle. And fill all of the space in the center of our circle, filling with divine compassion, with divine light, with unconditional love, with these high vibrations. It's an existent state that is not tied to human emotions. It is just a state of what is. So let this vibration fill all of the space of our circle and come to surround your entire being, becoming the air that you breathe, and becoming an enveloping support, an enveloping comfort for you. And begin to breathe in and out through your heart center, inhaling in this essence of divine light, inhaling in this essence of unconditional love, inhaling in this essence of eternal compassion. And as you inhale, feel your heart center expand and draw in this essence of compassion, this essence of light, this essence of love, this divine presence. Let this fill your entire heart center. And as you exhale, let this space in your heart just relax and release, become soft, releasing any of those barriers or tensions that we tend to hold on to as we go through life. Let's let those go for now. And again, inhaling in this essence of divine light, of unconditional love, of the eternal compassion, letting your heart space fill and fill and fill. And exhaling, let your heart center become soft, relax, and release. Washing away, letting go any of those barriers, those blocks, those tensions. And inhaling in that essence of divine light, unconditional love, and eternal compassion. And as you exhale, relax and release, let your heart become soft and let this essence stream into your heart center. Begin to fill all the core of your being with this stream from the ocean of divine light, of unconditional love and eternal compassion. Let this fill all of your heart space. And just breathe it in. Let it touch into that deepest place in toward the back of your heart space. You can kind of let yourself energetically lean back toward the back of your body, resting into your spine. And let yourself just bathe in this stream of compassion, of light, of love. Let it pour over you and really touch into that core of your being where this original vibration already exists. Let yourself open. Let your heart center be like a mouth that drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks from this ocean. And let this ocean fill all of your heart space. And let yourself take a deep belly breath, really breathing into your belly. And let this space be created in your belly so that this stream can move all the way down into your abdominal cavity down into your belly, streaming through your heart, filling all of your heart space and streaming down through your diaphragm and into your belly, filling all your pelvic bowl all the way up this big round of belly space. Now I want you to notice how your belly feels. Just notice if you're holding any tension, tightness. A lot of times this space, we want to hold it really tight so it's flat, or if it doesn't look the way we think it should look, we want to try to hide it, ask it to go hide itself. Or if we're holding fear and trauma in that space, we might want to pretend it doesn't exist. Maybe we've turned away from it because that's too much to deal with. So if that's the case for you, I'm not asking you to re-traumatize yourself in any way. But just as, well, for now, just notice. Just take a minute and notice. And to give this, whatever is there, give it permission to exist just as is in this moment. Give it permission to exist as is, and just let this stream of divine light, unconditional love and eternal compassion, just let it flow into that space as it will, without forcing anything. Just let it fill and surround this space. And this eye of your heart, the funnel at the front of your heart, that is that energy funnel. Let this kind of turn down toward your belly. You might want to put your hands on your belly, maybe even cradle your belly with your arms to hold this space, to contain this space, to give protection and safety and love for this space. Just as you would hold a child, you can hold this space in your own belly and invite your belly to be present here, just as you would a child who might be frightened or self-conscious, or if this child is hurting or in pain. Just give love. Let the love and compassion that's flowing through your heart flow right down into this space, and invite it as is to show up and receive love. A lot of times we think that we have to be fixed. We have to look right. We have to feel right. We have to get our health back. We have to find true love before we can be worthy of love. But the opposite is true. There is no part of you that is broken that needs to be fixed in order to have love. Every part of you is worthy of love and acceptance right now as is. We have a perception of perfection as human beings and what it means to be perfect, and those perceptions are way off. We're here on a journey, and there is perfection in every step of the journey. It is what it's supposed to be. It is as it is what it's supposed to be. We are where we're supposed to be. Every part of it is necessary, and it is all in the perfection. in the perfection of the One, of the Divine. So the key is to have the love, the compassion, the acceptance at every step along this journey, every place as is. This is in the perfection. So let this part of you that we so often turn away from and want to hide or want it to go away, just let this be fully, completely present. Invite it to show up. Let it take up space, just as you would for a child. It's not a something that's supposed to be not seen and not heard. It needs to be seen and to be heard. It needs permission to show up. We need to turn to this part of ourselves and commit to be in love and in partnership. We're on this journey together. We can't separate from our own selves and expect to live in peace and harmony and health. So let this love and compassion and light flow through your heart center and into this part of yourself, into your belly space. Holding this part of yourself in love, in compassion, in acceptance. If you notice that this part of yourself, of your body, has responded to any of that imprinting that says it's supposed to look a certain way, let's just take a minute and just make an apology for that. When we've unknowingly, by mistake, taken that on as truth and allowed that to stay in our bellies and disconnected from our bellies as a result of maybe it didn't look that way, or maybe it did look that way and it got us some attention we didn't want. And we were feeling unsafe. And we were unsafe because of that attention. That happens a lot too, and that's one of the really big struggles around this whole mess. So let this part of the body, let's just make apology for abandoning ourselves. It's not saying we're wrong or bad, but it's a part of mending the relationship with our own selves. Let yourself just say, hey, if I turned away from you in any way, if I've held on to, consciously or subconsciously, ideas that you're not good enough, or not what you're supposed to be, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I ask for your forgiveness. And let your heart direct this right to your belly. Bringing your heart and your belly together in relationship. In a loving, accepting relationship. You can say from your heart to your belly, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. That's the Ho'oponopono prayer. And invite your belly to really receive the apology and to accept the apology. So let's invite the belly to please receive the apology and accept the apology. And let yourself send it. Love, I love you. Apology, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And invite your belly to really receive, to take in that apology. And thank you. Thank you for accepting this apology as best you can, and we can keep working with this. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Give your belly permission to be as is, to be, exist in love, in compassion, in light, in beauty, in connection with every part of you, your heart, your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit. And if you're able in this moment, make a commitment to your own belly, your own inner child space, whatever way that this connects for you. So make a commitment to this part of yourself to be a partner on this journey, a loving, accepting, unified partner. To walk this journey together as one, to not abandon and separate. And if it happens that you do, to know that you will return. That you will return and you will keep working at this. Keep working at this connection. And I'll encourage you throughout this week, and as long as it takes, when you wake up in the mornings, just take 10 minutes and breathe. You can start with calling on that essence of the divine in the way that we do in this meditation. Call on divine light, call on unconditional love, call on eternal compassion. And let this vibration come and surround all of your being. Breathe this into your heart. Let it fill your heart space, and then let your heart turn down toward your belly. Breathe through your heart and into your belly. and make that connection with your belly. Invite your belly to show up and be present with you on this day. Invite your belly and your heart into partnership as you walk through your day together. Showing up together at meals, showing up together at meetings. There's a number of places, a number of ways where we disconnect from ourselves, a number of times where we disconnect from ourselves. So show up together in love, in unity, in peace, in harmony together. Live your life from this place of connection to yourself in the essence of divine love, divine light, eternal compassion. You make your life from this place. Your relationships are different. Your choices are different. The way that you are able to be in relationship to your body, to food, to your eating habits, to your shopping habits, to relationships, everything begins to change. So many times when we make those unconscious decisions and choices that don't necessarily have the best effect on ourselves, our health, and the planet, they come from being disconnected from our own selves, and that the wounding of the inner child that feels abandoned because we've disconnected from it is what ends up making the choices, and we don't even realize it. We don't realize how or why. And we end up making choices that aren't the best for ourselves or the planet. So let yourself do this every day. Be conscious of your connection with your own body, with your own belly, your own inner child, your own whatever is living inside of you. And all of the parts of ourselves live inside of us at every stage of development simultaneously. So when we bring acceptance, love, healing, harmony within ourselves, we can live that in the outer way. So again, this isn't a meditation that you come back from. I invite you to integrate this connection into the cellular consciousness of every cell of your body, so that every cell of your body can take this in as a way that you want to move forward in connection, in unity, in love, in harmony, filled every part of your being, connected and filled with divine light, unconditional love, and eternal compassion. Connected, moving forward in unity and partnership as one. So take a minute and wiggle your toes, stretch your feet, and let the energy move all the way through your body, through your pelvic floor, through your legs, through your feet, and into the earth. Into your arms, your wrists, your hands, your fingers. Stretch out your hands and your fingers too, so that this consciousness is patterning every cell of your body on a conscious level. You live in connection, harmony, unity with yourself, and you live in a way that will consciously support, benefit your relationships, your family, your community, and the planet. So again, take a minute, make that commitment to yourself. We are meant to live in connection and harmony with ourselves and with the earth. It is imperative to having a healthy body and a peaceful planet. So let's take a minute for gratitude, sincere gratitude for our own hearts, our own bellies, and for the one and only one. Help us to be the clean mirrors, the holy vessels to reflect your light, your love, your beauty, your compassion in this world. Use us to spread your peace in this world. You can add your own personal prayer and intention. Thank you for joining us today. Please join us in the Community for Conscious Living Facebook group for further conversation about personal transformation and universal harmony. Please use this meditation throughout the week. As much as you need it, it'll be on the website for the rest of this week. And if you like what you've heard and experienced here, please share it with others. Invite others to join us as well. You can return to replay this information at joyfullylivingwellness.com/the-community. And if you haven't gotten your free copy of the 10 Foundational Principles of Spiritual Healing, you can download it from that page as well, also in the Facebook group, which is Community for Conscious Living. There's a link to it on that webpage as well. And I'll put the information on that webpage for the National Eating Disorders Association if you would like to check out some of their resources or make a donation to them this month. Also, if you're in the Women's Sacred Healing group, which met for the first time last Thursday, if you make a donation for that, a love offering for that program, 20% of that will go to benefit the National Eating Disorders Association as well. And if you have not joined that yet and you would like to, you're welcome to join it, and you'll get a link to the recording for last Thursday's, as well as a link to the Facebook group Facebook group page for that event. And love to have you in that. You can listen to the recording and catch up with us for this coming Thursday. Right, thank you very much for that. Bid you a wonderful, wonderful, joyful week. Go in peace, love, service, and gratitude. Thank you.